In this video, we'll talk about how Jeffrey Epstein was, quote, planning to extort money from the Queen by blackmailing Prince Andrew, Prince Andrew's ex-girlfriend Koo Stark winning a lawsuit against the Daily Mail, Prince Harry's new award threatening to deepen rift with the royal family, and more. Are things changing for the royal family? Stay tuned to find out. But first, Jeffrey Epstein, quote, was planning to extort money from the Queen by blackmailing Prince Andrew. You'd think that attempting to blackmail a prince of the royal British family is daring enough, but John Bryan is convinced that Jeffrey Epstein's ultimate goal wasn't Prince Andrew at all, but the late Queen herself. According to Bryan, Epstein, who trapped hundreds of vulnerable young girls into his trafficking ring over a period of almost 3 decades, was in the habit of befriending rich and powerful men in order to blackmail them into paying him money to remain silent. Bryan, who has been involved in the world of finance all his life and has some knowledge of the men involved, claims that this is how Epstein made his money. While many believed Epstein just knew how to deal with taxes, Bryan claims that all Epstein's money came from blackmail. Quote, Epstein tried to lure Andrew into his web, but I believe his ultimate mark was the Queen, Bryan says. He adds that he's fully convinced of Prince Andrew's innocence because if Prince Andrew had been partaking in orgies, as has been alleged, Epstein would have been able to bribe the Queen. And after all, Prince Andrew himself never really had any money. Epstein ended up taking his own life in a New York prison in 2019 before he could be put on trial for the charges that had been brought against him. Next up, Prince Andrew's ex-girlfriend, Koo Stark, wins lawsuit against the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail will have to cough up the payment for substantial damages to Koo Stark, a former girlfriend of Prince Andrew. The Daily Mail had published an article that wrongly referred to Stark as a star and accused her of being the shady sort of people. Stark filed a lawsuit against the Daily Mail's publisher, Associated Newspapers, as well as former editor and deputy editor Geordie Greig and Gerard Greaves. The article was initially released in November of 2019 and referred to Prince Andrew as a Duke of Hazzard who hung out with very shady friends. The article also included a picture of Stark from one of her movies, The Awakening of Emily, captioned, "The Prince and the Star." Lastly, the article also referred to Prince Andrew having had, quote, an astonishing relationship with a soft star. According to Stark's lawyer, Francis Leonard, the article suggested that Stark made a living out of making content for the graphic industry, but the truth is that Stark has never appeared in any graphic movie and is not posed for any graphic images. Since winning the case, Stark has been granted payment for the damages that have been done by the article, and her name has been cleared. The Daily Mail has also issued an apology through its printed edition and on Mail Online. Following Prince Harry's new award threatens to deepen rift with the royal family. A royal expert has claimed that the newly granted award is threatening to deepen the rift between Prince Harry and the royal family even further than it already is. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are set to receive the Ripple of Hope Awards from Robert F. Kennedy's daughter, Carrie. They have been granted the award for standing up to the alleged racism they experienced while they were still a part of the royal family. Prince Harry and Meghan sparked international debate after the release of their bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey, in which she revealed the alleged racism to an extent that we hadn't heard about until then. If Prince Harry and Meghan are to accept this award, the rift between them and the royal family will certainly be deeper, according to royal expert Jenny Bond. But it doesn't seem like they have much choice. Either they ignore the award, which would make it seem like their claims were all lies, or they accept the award, which would push the royal family away even further out of their reach than it already is. What do you think they'll do? Don't go anywhere just yet. Next, Prince William might have to hand over crucial roles to non-royals. The House of Lords has called for Prince Andrew and Prince Harry to be blocked as royal stand-ins, and Meghan Markle says she felt like the monarchy needed her more than she needed the monarchy. Make sure to keep watching until the end of the video if you want to find out what that's all about. Now, let's get into it. First up, Prince William might have to hand over crucial roles to non-royals. Dr. Craig Prescott, a Bangor University lecturer, thinks that the future king and queen, quote, may have a much smaller royal family in 20 years, which means that they're going to have a much harder time finding members of the royal family who could be appointed as counselors of state, an issue that is already causing some problems today, but more on that later. But the way it's it's looking now, we shouldn't be surprised if this specific role will have to be given to non-members of the royal family, or that the heir of the throne will be allowed to act alone, at least for certain functions in times to come. While this may sound weird, it's not completely unheard of. For example, towards the end of Queen Victoria's reign, the Prince of Wales, who had become King Edward VII, held Privy Council meetings on behalf of the Queen while she was traveling overseas. Another option would be to allow non-royals amongst the pool of counselors of state who could then act alongside a member of the royal family. An example for who might be suitable for such a position are retired Supreme Court judges who are politically impartial like the royal family. There's also a sort of precedent for this, as in 1911 the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Lord President of the Privy Council, and the Lord Chancellor acted as counselors of state alongside Prince Arthur of Connaught. Either way, it looks like changes will have to be made. Next, the House of Lords has called for Prince Andrew and Prince Harry to be blocked as royal stand-ins. The House of Lords have heard a call for the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, and the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, to be removed from being stand-ins for King Charles III. Peers have been debating plans to have two other royals to take their place as counselors of state, namely the Princess Royal and the Earl of Wessex. Both Prince Andrew and Prince Harry are non-working royals, and a Labour peer claims that is reasonable enough for them to be taken off the list. Peers have debated the Counselors of State bill, which could see the widening of the pool, or royals which would be eligible to carry out official duties if the king was overseas or taken ill. The Lord Privy Seal, Lord True, says that the proposal is a practical solution which is necessary for the machinery of government, while the royal family has confirmed that, in practice, only working royals will be called upon to act as counselor. The new legislation would add two more names instead of removing any of the current ones: the Queen Consort, the Prince of Wales, Prince Harry, Prince Andrew, his daughter Beatrice, and Camilla. Lord Berkeley supported the addition of Princess Anne and Prince Edward, and also put forward an amendment that excludes Prince Harry, Prince Andrew, and any other non-working royals. The legislation will move on later in the week, but the government is not expected to accept the proposal for the removal of Prince Andrew and Prince Harry. And lastly, Meghan Markle says she felt like the monarchy needed her more than she needed the monarchy. From the outside, it looked like Meghan Markle hit the ground running when she found herself joining the royal family. But many authors have since claimed that Meghan was never quite able to grasp the fact that the royal family works as one, together, as opposed to individually. This is explained in more detail in The Palace Papers, Inside the House of Windsor, The Truth and the Turmoil by Tina Brown, who wrote that Meghan yearned for a leading lady status, especially after she and Prince Harry had such a successful royal tour of Australia shortly after their wedding in 2018. Meghan reportedly couldn't grasp why no one was congratulating her and felt like the monarchy, quote, needed her more than she needed them. The 16-day tour of Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, and Fiji had left the newlyweds with the feeling that they had been blessed by Diana's magic. However, what neither of them seemed to understand was that Diana hadn't won the public's affection with just one tour, but had wrought her image with years and years of consistent and genuine care about the work she was doing, which is in stark contrast with how Meghan apparently felt about her duties, as several staff members heard Meghan say that she couldn't believe that she wasn't being paid for her work in the royal family. And that is it. Do you think Epstein was bold enough to try and blackmail the late queen? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.